This is Dr. Meyer, a pulmonologist in Sacramento. This week I'd like to talk to you about the medical cost of dying. Medicare pays about $50 billion to the last 2 months of the medical care of life. And most people think that's a lot of waste of money, and there's figures that talk about the last 6 months of life and so on. For those of us that watch the obituary column to make sure that we're not in it in the morning, I guess, we notice that people are dying at home. When I started practice 30-40 years ago, everybody went to the hospital to die, and people just didn't like to be close to their relatives when they were dead, and so people want to get them out of the house, and so they die away from them. And that spurred the whole industry of health care, hospital care, and ICU care, and all the expensive things we have now. It's been estimated that one day in the ICU now is close to $10,000 on the average. And there's patients who spend weeks there, months there, and sometimes half a year in the ICU. And you can imagine what that would be at 100 days at $10,000 a day, and that would bankrupt just about anybody. And Medicare is unable to deny medicines on the basis of cost. That's something I just realized recently as I was looking at some data here. And so they will pay $55,000 for, say, a cancer drug that may only extend life on the average of 6 weeks. And that's a pretty expensive 6 weeks of life, and the quality of that life frequently is not very good. We also must see that, or realize that 20 to 30% of healthcare costs have no effect on health. And that's a significant amount of money. And so it's hard to get a handle on this, and politicians can't get a handle on that. And much of that's the third rail that nobody wants to touch, thinking they might get electrocuted. Also, 20% of the healthcare costs is spent in the intensive care unit, and this is a huge part of that. And there's just hundreds of pages of analysis of how healthcare costs is distributed. And gradually people have found that being separated from the family and seeing their loved ones in the ICU with machines and infusion pumps and ventilators around them, and they can't get even close enough to hold their hand or to kiss their loved ones, and maybe this isn't the best way to say goodbye to people as they end this life. And so more and more people have decided that they would like to have a more humane final days of life, and so more and more people are deciding to die at home. The other thing that happens now is when people are discharged to a convalescent hospital, and the personal physician is out of the loop. And so we see patients that go to the hospital, maybe for something that's appropriate, or a fractured hip or something, and then they go to the convalescent hospital for 6 or 12 weeks, and then they get pneumonia, and they go back to the acute hospital, and they're there for 3 to 5 days, and they go back to the convalescent hospital, and it's a ping-pong effect back and forth. And convalescent hospitals aren't cheap, and many of them have all kinds of names now: intermediate care and acute convalescent care, and all sorts of names that people are dreaming up to bypass the system and be able to collect the largest amount of money possible. So the tendency now is to spend more time at home, or in your home environment as much as possible, and this is slowly decreasing the cost of health care, and that is a good way to go. And that's it for today, and be sure to tune to my channel for my video blogs and post any comments beneath this. I'm Meyer, and till next time, so long.